got, we got a few attendees. We got people still joining. I'm going to wait probably another minute or so before I get started. Anyway, welcome. I'm just going to remind everyone to please mute your phone unless you've got a question to ask, and then please unmute it and just speak up. I'm going to do what I normally do. We'll do a little bit of an update. I'm going to cover a couple of issues that are about wealth management partners and what we've got going this year, some projects that are underway, and then we're going to introduce Robin Fite. Robin's going to do a demo for us. It's similar to what was presented at the regional meetings, and mainly I wanted everyone to have an opportunity to make sure they understood how Lincoln is handling technology offerings going forward, and then ask any questions about, how do you test the different technology offerings, how do you get help and support, and any other questions you might have for Robin. All of you know her, as I'm sure, and she's always been a really great help and advocate for us, so we're glad she could be here with us. First of all, just a quick update on kind of where we are. Wealth Management Partners, we're all of, almost 7 months old now. I guess we are 7 months old today. But last year was a fantastic year for us. We ended the year really strong, and we started off incredibly strong. January looks like it's going to be our best month ever in two categories. One is revenue, and the other is new assets. Still pulling the information, and it'll be another week or so before we know for sure. But it looks almost certain to be the best month we've ever had. So we're off to a really good start, got a lot of good momentum. The revenue piece, more revenue is always nice, but what's really exciting to me is the new assets. That's a much more tangible indication of growth than more revenue is. As you guys know, from your own commission statements, the stock market's moves has a lot to do with our revenue these days. And so even though we certainly appreciate the extra revenue when the market goes up, what really ensures growth of your practices and our firm as a result is when you bring new assets in. So we're going to have final numbers on that. We're pulling the information now, and I'll be sharing some numbers with you probably in the next couple of weeks on that. So anyway, great start to the year. One of the things I thought I would talk about today is most of you know, and we've talked about this in other calls, we did spend most of last year assessing our relationship with Lincoln, looking at other broker-dealers and custodians and other structures. And what we came up with was there was opportunity out there, but the risk really seemed to outweigh the opportunity for a move. And so what we've decided to do is sit tight, and instead I'm working very hard with Lincoln right now on some initiatives that I think could make a big difference for all of us and for your businesses and for wealth management partners. And at the same time, we can get that without taking on the risk of a move. One of the things I found in looking out there are certainly some technology and maybe some client-facing, systems and opportunities out there that would be interesting to have access to. But what I could not get totally comfortable with was the risk of the move itself. A lot of the firms that we really liked are, in my opinion, struggling keeping their service at a high enough level, at the same time accepting a bunch of new advisors. And, you know, moving a group like ours, the size of it is no small thing. And what we were really looking for was you know, much more, not risk-free, but more certainty in a move than I felt I could get. The other thing was it appears in talking to Lincoln, because our talks were serious enough to where Lincoln has come to the plate in a pretty serious way. I think they really do understand now that they've got to move on some things that are important to us and important to the future of your business, or eventually they are going to lose us. So we've been working on this with them, and I think we're in a good place. There's several different initiatives that we're working on with them. Some of them would give us access to other custodians and other technology as a result. One of the things I would like to do is have better client service technology and also asset management technology than we have today. And I know Lincoln would like to do that as well. The problem is that a lot of that improvement, it gets staged in when it comes to improving your technology. Right now, Lincoln's doing a lot of work in getting their basic structure in better shape, and I think they've done a good job of that. Getting the account opening system and the workflow processes improved, and they are working on that. We're rolling that out as we speak. But I do think there's an opportunity for us to work with some other custodians like a Schwab or a D and have better technology and perhaps some improved opportunities for you when it comes to your asset management business. So we're working with them on that. We're working on you know, a variety of other growth-related options, and so as we continue to talk to them, I'm looking forward to having some exciting things to relate to you as a result of those talks. So, having said that, are there any questions? Anybody have any questions about what I've just been talking about here?
John, Ryan Day has a quick question.
Yeah, go right ahead, Ryan.
So have you kind of put a time frame around your assessment? Are you thinking, let's see how this goes for 12 months or 24 months, or is it just let's wait and see and we'll know when we know?
I'm not putting any time frame on it like that, Ryan.
Okay.
I'm instead trying to get the ability to move faster than Lincoln is used to moving on a lot of this stuff. And so really what I'm trying to do is compartmentalize it into projects and work those projects really hard. And because I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, none of this stuff, you can't do it all at once. So right now what we're trying to do is relate to them the things that we have found to be limiting in our Lincoln relationship, the opportunities that we've seen out in the marketplace that we'd like to have access to, and then build a project around that and try to get those things done. And rather than waiting for Lincoln to do it for us, I think what we really want to do here is find a collaborative relationship with them rather than just kind of sitting back and waiting for things to improve.
Sounds good. Not that there needed to be a specific time frame, but I think it's helpful just so we have a sense of, you know, the speed or whatever.
Well, yeah, I get it. Yeah, but really what I don't want is for us to continue to have this, well, you know, we might move in 12 months, you know, hanging over our head here. I think that's been limiting for all of us for a while. And so I think for right now, it's important for us just to, you know, make the commitment to make this work. And what I'm encouraged about is that I am getting really good response from both Ed and Dennis on some of these things that we're talking about. I'm not getting stiff-armed on anything at this point. So I'm trying to take advantage of that moment and get some wins on our plate with them so they can see that these aren't things they should fear, but instead things that are going to help drive growth and production and revenue and profitability for all of us, them included. So anyway, hopefully that helps a little bit. And I'll certainly be more, we'll be giving you guys a lot more communication around this as it fleshes out. Okay, hey, let me mention my next thing here I wanted to talk about was the meeting I mentioned in the update that we sent or the reminder that we sent out yesterday. I think I've mentioned to you guys before, I really did want to have a meeting this year. It was a little hard to schedule one because I wasn't sure about the, the opportunities with Lincoln or whether something else was going to, get us to move. So instead, what I did was I had to wait a little longer than I wanted to, but we did get confirmation last night. And so we're going to have a meeting on March 12th. It's going to be at the Newport Beach Marriott. We're still working on the agenda and logistics, but we're working fast on this because, obviously we have to. We're looking at probably a meeting that'll go from 10 to 5 that day, and then have dinner and have people stay that night. Those that want to go home or can, but we certainly would like people to stay and have dinner and then leave the next morning. So we'll be getting more detail on this out, hopefully by the end of this week. I would like to have something out on Friday if I can. But I just got confirmation this morning on the hotel being available. So I've agreed to that spot, and now we should be moving really quick on getting the rest of this set up for you. Anyway, really looking forward to it. It should be it's going to be just Wealth Management Partners. We will have, I think Rick Mahalchik is going to attend, and he'll be speaking some about PSF and our continued relationship with them for our insurance needs. But it's going to be a little different meeting. It's going to be really around wealth management and our business, and we're working on some outside presenters. We will have Lincoln's presence there. Ed will be there. And we're kind of, like I said, still working on the total agenda, but we'll have information out to you all shortly. So the next thing I had on my list here was I've got it listed as the client profile project. It's essentially this project that I'm sure all of you are aware of now, that is about getting the suitability and the other however many pieces of data. I think it's like 22 pieces now that you have to have on each client. I will tell you that on the whole, you guys are doing a great job. Compared to the rest of Lincoln, I would say we are way ahead of the rest of the company when it comes to this. And that really means that all of you are working on this really hard. I know it's not easy, and but I will tell you, this is one of the things that every single broker dealer that I've spoken to is dealing with this right now. And they're all struggling with this, and it's no small project for anybody. I spoke to one group, it's a similar size group to ours, about the same number of advisors, about the same amount of GDC. A year later, after a move to one of the broker dealers we talked to, they were still having data problems. And it was really mainly because a lot of the data that they originally had was incorrect or corrupted or not complete. So, and in that scenario, they were struggling in a big way because if they didn't have all the data in there, the new broker dealer wasn't paying them anymore. So they were having huge amounts of commissions held every month. So just so you know, I know it never helps to hear, well, everybody's got this problem or somebody else's is worse. But I thought you should all know that this is not just a Lincoln problem, it is an industry problem. And I would encourage you just to please stay on it. Don't wait until March to finish this up. April is going to be here before you know it. Just to remind you, on advisory fees, anything after April 1, they're going to hold in a suspense account until June 30th. So they'll give you that period of time to fix that account, or you'll, and if you don't after that, then you will lose that quarter. So I would just encourage you, please stay on this. If you have if you really run into a bind or have issues, please make sure that Angie or Shane know, because they have been able to help some people with a few of these issues. So if you have any questions or doubts about that, please call Angie or Shane, and they'll be more than happy to give you whatever help they can. Yes. Oh, okay. Jim, I don't know yet on I just saw your question about the compliance meeting on March, and I don't know yet, because I don't know if we can get, I think we have to have Deirdre to do that. There may be someone else in our office, but we're checking on that, and we will do our best to get that in there if we can. Okay. Well, listen, I think what we'll do then now is go ahead and introduce Robin so she can do her presentation, and then we should have a few minutes at the end of her presentation for any other questions that you may have. So anyway, this is what Robin's going to talk about is this new tier pilot program that Lincoln has announced. So you should have received an email from Dennis Hauser that outlined the new tiered pricing of technology at Lincoln and what's included in each tier, along with a description of each of these technology offerings. What Robin's going to do today is go through and just kind of explain this a little bit better to you, and then also discuss how you can use this first quarter of the year to pilot some of these technology offerings so you can make a better, more informed choice on the technology that you use ultimately going forward. So now I'll just mute my phone and let Robin take over.
Thank you, John. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've talked to some of you, so welcome. And I took a few slides out that we did at the regional just because we had a lot of other, stuff in there that is probably, just kind of goofy stuff that's kind of more back office stuff. But I did want to cover what we have, as far as the technology for what, we've worked on the whole last year. A lot of this stuff is going to be familiar to a lot of you because I think a lot of you use a lot of these tools already. But this was a big deal for us. I mean, we worked really hard on getting enterprise contracts with a lot of them so that we could get, all of Lincoln on board with the same technology that helps with our integrations, to be able to build the integrations, the more people that use it, plus it helps drive our pricing down and to be able to do more work, with them. And I think it just would help to streamline everybody's process. So, as most of you know, we've actually rolled, we've been rolling out RedTail. Well, let me just show you this because John talked about this. This is the technology packages that Dennis sent out the email. This is available on our website today that you could go out. It's in under portals and under business development, the tech packages that you can go out and look at just to kind of see kind of where our thought process is going and what we're trying to do. And the biggest thing behind it, just so you know, a lot of it is today we feel like in order for advisors, which most of you probably do too, to be a good fiduciary, we feel like that, financial planning is very important to know your client well. So we have a lot of advisors today that don't do financial planning, so we're trying to get them more on board with it. So that's why we put it's a part of financial planning in every one of the packages, just because we feel like that it's really important, and we feel like kind of that's the way that the marketplace is. It's not just going, but it's already there. So this is the, email. This is just kind of a watered down version of what you would have seen that Dennis had shared with everybody. And the first one that we've been working on is RedTail. We've done a ton of conversions on RedTail over this last year. We still would like to continue the conversions. We picked it because it's number one in the industry. It's if you saw the survey from the Financial Planning magazine, they had, RedTail was number one next to Salesforce. They have, they don't charge for conversions, which is a big deal. Most of them do. They're, flexible. They have integrations with every tool that we've picked. So, and not only that, we've built deep integrations from us to RedTail, and we're working on that. You'll see, we're putting in a release this Friday of more integrations that we actually to enhance the integration experience. So you truly only have to, update an address one time, and we pass it to NetX, we pass it to RedTail, just to try to kind of hopefully make your lives easier. Albridge, we've done a ton of work with them over the last year. I know a lot of you are already using Albridge, but most of the Lincoln, or all the Lincoln advisors, we brought in 10 years worth of their history, their solutions history, so that they can pick it up and use it as well too. Again, this just helps us in numbers to help drive our price down. It puts us, a bigger fish in the pond, so that we have a louder voice at Albridge to do more change and to help drive change. And they also, because we have a lot of advisors who don't do that type of reporting today, we actually negotiated a light version for a lot of advisors versus the full version. The difference between the two is the light version has all of the reporting, just not performance. And then the full version is what you see today. We're the first broker dealers with MoneyGuide Pro to do this. This was kind of a request of us, kind of told them where we were trying to go, headed, and we evaluated like every single financial planning tool I think out there all through last year. MoneyGuide Pro, we're actually offering 3 versions. This is for an advisor who's not doing financial planning today, but wants to kind of get involved in it. They now have 3 packages available. That's part of the tiered pricing. And I'll show you that kind of what it looks like here in just a few minutes, but they have, a basic, an intermediate, and then the full version with that. And we have, so the Scout is the tier 1 package. It's in part of the tier 1. And this literally can be client or advisor driven. So client driven, if your client does go in, like if you share a link with them, they can go out and fill it out if it's a prospect or somebody that's new. This this is actually a video over here on the side. This will walk the client step by step through of what's being asked for as far as the information. Doesn't give any financial planning advice, nothing like that. It just truly is, do you need help filling this out, and what questions do you have? If they have questions that the video isn't answering, they have live chat right here that MoneyGuide Pro has people on staff that will answer their questions. It's not coming to Lincoln, it actually is MoneyGuide Pro that's answering their questions of what they're looking for as far as the input here. So that's part of the tier 1 package. The one thing about Scout is it's not going to give them, at this point in the game, you wouldn't really be doing a lot of planning. This is just going to give you a true snapshot of where the client is today. So they would give them, the asset allocation, their current asset allocation, and based on what they put in there, it's going to give them where they are as far as their probability of success, based on what they put in. Like they put in, were wanting to retire at 64. Here's some of the, their wants around when they retire, but that's not really going to cut it. So they're at 34% probability that they're going to succeed at that. And then you can, you can run a report from that, but that's truly just going to, give the client an idea of today, where they're at today, what's going on. So the next level of it, you have MoneyGuide focus, which is light. So that's tier 2. This is where you're going to start being able to get into planning. So it could be, again, client-driven, advisor-driven. The one thing that, Money Guide Pro says that they found with if they're doing client-driven versus advisor-driven at the beginning is that the clients actually, if they're doing it by themselves, put in 8 goals versus on an average of 8 goals versus if they are sitting with an advisor, they usually put 2 goals in, which is, I thought was pretty interesting. But you can share the link with your client. They can fill in. It looks exactly as, Scout started out. They can put in all the information. But that takes a little bit further. The advisor then can do, basic retirement planning with the client. And they can give, they have their asset, allocation, and then you start doing recommended, like planning behind it, to give them, a basic financial plan. And they have that with this version, you'd still get the play zone for the client where they can do, there's actually, the client has little meters that they can slide back and forth if they change criteria. And then you have, the level 3, which is the full-blown Money Guide Pro. If you're not familiar with it, there's, you can do, estate planning. There's the goal-based estate planning. You have the what-if worksheet, which is, 3 levels. You can do probability of success if you move things around based on what they put in there. And then you have, this is just all of the input that you can put in from there. And obviously there's tons of reports that you can run, you can customize them, you can brand it. And so we're really excited about this relationship with Money Guide Pro, just because it will allow a lot of, the advisors that aren't doing planning today, kind of work their way into it and not have to spend, take the leap in and spend the full amount of money, but they could actually start in it. And if they want to move up, they could from there. The next level, again, we're working with eMoney. So the thing that we really liked about eMoney and Money Guide Pro, obviously we had the most users between those 2 tools already. So it kind of made it an easy fit for us to be able to roll it out. But again, if you look at the Financial Planning magazine, they were rated, they both were 1 and 2. Money Guide Pro is number 1, the top used tool by financial advisors. eMoney was number 2. So we're not trying to recreate the wheel, nothing like that. We just wanted to offer up, good pricing for the best tools that are out there. This one, there are 3 levels of it too. So you have, the first level is just the client portal. We love that eMoney and Money Guide Pro, if you wanted to use Money Guide Pro for financial planning, but you love eMoney portal, which we do, you can they integrate together, and they integrate very well together. So you can save the client plan onto the client portal so that the advisor or the client has access to the client portal from Money Guide Pro. You have access, to the vault to share the plan within the vault if you wanted to. But that's the first level. So the first level is now you have 3 levels of eMoney as well. So you have the first one, which is the MX Select, which is just the vault and the client portal. But you have access to all of the information, that goes along with the client portal and the vault. You can brand it. You have access to the mobile app, stuff like that. Which if you go in, this is kind of what mine's watered down, but that's what the client portal looks like. And then you have the EMX, which the difference between EMX Select and EMX is that you bump up to, if you wanted to do financial planning within eMoney, this is just the goal-based planning section. So that's, they have the EMX Select is portal vault, and then you bump it up and you have the goal-based planning with it. And this is kind of what it looks like. It's just, you're getting the basic goal-based or planning, kind of like Money Guide Pros. They are comparable in that aspect. And then you have the full version, which then that adds into the cash flow planning, then the full estate planning. So the full version of eMoney from there. And that's, you have the advanced facts. I think the data taker is over 50 pages long that you could get the information. If you did, a comprehensive estate planning or cash flow planning, you could do that with an eMoney Pro. The next one, which we have did an enterprise agreement with Field Advisors. So this is access to lots of educational material for not only the advisors, but the clients. And then you have access to CE for the accreditations. You have access to that today. It's through, if you go to Advisor Link and click on Partner Tools, it will take you directly into there. Just so you know, we had another call with them this morning. We are working on getting a couple more modules added into it. We're still working on it, but we'd like to get newsletters as part of it, and maybe e-cards or something like that, but we're still working on that. But right now you already have access to the educational material. You can go out there and look at it today. And this is kind of what it looks like. If you have, so the good thing about it is that it's not only just for the clients. You can, for an advisor, if they're doing planning and they're trying to, you know, look at that they deal with something with a life event they've never dealt with before as far as financial planning, you can go out there and there's lots of information so that the advisor could pull and read the information about it, how to handle it, and then they could also share a client piece with the client. That can be branded with your logo. You can put all your profile information in there, and it will, you know, you can have it branded to send out to your client. That integrates with RedTail as well. So just to I do want to kind of do a quick integration overview. Now there's so many ways, and I talked about this when I went out to the regionals, like all of these tools in some form or fashion do talk to each other. So that, you know, I'm just taking it from the stance as if you were a RedTail user and you know, just because I want to talk a little bit about how we integrate like Advisor Link with RedTail, and then kind of how things branch off from there. So if you look at this was shared out a while ago. Advisor Link does integrate deeply right now with NetX 360, Account Central, RedTail, and then we have an integration with Allbridge where we're, you know, that piece of it right now is single sign-on, but we've done those integrations. And then from there, you know, there's lots of other integrations that are already built off of what we have, you know, plus what we have built. We are working on more. We just, it's, you know, obviously a work in progress, and we're, you know, we take feedback and kind of evaluate it to see what works best. And we are doing a lot of work on different integrations still. So I just want to walk you through it. Like this isn't just the only way that you can do it. It's not the only way it integrates, but this is just to give you an idea of how they kind of already, like we integrated with them and they integrate. So just to kind of start off, so with Advisor Link, you know, we built the integration with RedTail where if you update something in Lions, we do pass it over to RedTail for an address and demographic update. Not everything, just demographic updates. It only goes one way because we recognize that advisors may have other clients and that we don't, you know, as a broker-dealer don't have access to, don't want access to, but so we do pass, if you update in Lions, we'll pass it over to RedTail. If you have, so what we've actually are going to do from starting this Friday when we do the release is that we were having it where it would pass over, you know, each time you did an update. Well, we're trying to make that cleaner. So where if your RedTail isn't in sync with what our back office system is, we'll keep those in sync. So if you know, say you have a client that was added, maybe not be in your RedTail, but added by a new account, we'll actually, you know, do a compare to make sure that that's sent over so that, you know, we've never sent that before, we need to send it over. Just to keep everything in sync together, which is a big deal. So, but we, you know, from here we have, you know, this, you can do search for your client once this is linked up. Now the key to doing the integration to make sure that those things are passed over is to make sure once you have your RedTail widget here that you put your credentials in there. That just lets us know that we can pass information over to RedTail. So just having those credentials in there to get us to pass the information over. From there, if you actually click on this little triangle up or this, you know, pointing out to the side, this is actually the single sign-on into RedTail. And then once you get into RedTail, it like will take you to your main page. From the main page, you actually, you know, you have a lot of information, but most of your integrations that you're going to do would probably start with a contact record when you're in RedTail. So if you were in a contact record, all of the integrations that happen right here. So this, and there's lots of integrations. So I just have for this kind of presentation, I just wanted to show you kind of what we have to, what they integrate with. But like I said, there's many of them. But once you click on that, it takes you, you'll see that RedTail has a single sign-on back, so Lincoln. So you could, go back to Advisor Link from there. It integrates with Albridge, so we will pull, if you wanted to, you can pull your Albridge account data in so that you see it on your client. Once you hook up your single sign-on from RedTail to Albridge, you can do that. You actually could run like basic reports directly from here. It's just if you wanted to look at a quick holdings report without having to jump all the way over to Albridge and run it right there, you could run it directly from here. It'll still be branded and it will still have the disclosures. It really is pulling from Albridge, but it's just an easier way to get to the reporting if you had something quick you wanted to run. The next one is, DocuPace is our Account Central. That one, if you wanted to, once the integration is set up, you could actually, it looks just like from the client lookup today. You can do a single sign-on. You can send to the client folder from there, which will take you directly into your client's information. Or you could, if you were starting a new account, you could send a starting point, which goes directly to the wizards like it does from the client lookup from Advisor Link today. So it looks exactly the same. It goes directly into our Account Central from there. eMoney, that one they've built some pretty deep integrations with that too. You have single sign-on, which will take you directly into your eMoney. You can actually send the client over to eMoney, or if you're in eMoney and you turn on the integration, you can pull all of your clients over, like so you don't have to set up a client each time. You can pull it over that way too. And then if you send a client information over, it will go over to the overview. And then from eMoney, you actually can jump to a lot of different spots directly from RedTail too. You can get to the alerts or the connections. And then you also have the ability to go directly to the vault or go to their investments just directly from this screen right here. And this is from RedTail. MoneyGuide Pro is kind of the same way. You have a single sign-on, take you directly there. You can send your client information over. So if you have your Albridge information coming into RedTail, you send it to MoneyGuide Pro. It'll send all of that financial information over to them as well. And the view client reports, this is actually if you have, if you're storing documents within RedTail, if you have ran MoneyGuide Pro reports, it'll store back on your client record within RedTail. And then you can also see the recommended plan results from here. So you can actually see it from RedTail right from the screen. I wanted to show this one too. Morningstar, we don't have, we have a fair amount of people using it. It's not in the packaging price, but I wanted to show it because you actually can set up the integration to run Morningstar reports from RedTail if you wanted to. Once your account information is coming over, you can set up the integration and run the snapshot report, X-ray report, and like stock intersection report. And then the last one is Riskalyze, and that one, just so everybody knows, I know you probably saw an email maybe in Advisor Week that said we're working on a marketing agreement. I have another call with them. The people that I was working with, I was working with two different people, and they both left Riskalyze. One went to work for another financial planning firm. So I'm kind of starting over with them again on the marketing agreement. But that's coming soon. I actually have a meeting with them on Monday. So we'll move fast. So they're just kind of picking up where we left off. But it does integrate with RedTail as well. Single sign-on. You can analyze client risk directly from here. You can create a risk questionnaire that you would have from there as well. Sorry, click too soon. But just so everybody knows, we are running a pilot period on all the tools you see here. 4 fields already available, so it's you can already get access into it today. But for up until, we're not charging anything for up until April. So if you wanted to, so right now, MoneyGuide Pro, everybody has access today. If you wanted to log in, we actually, because of the way they set up the user IDs and passwords, everybody, I know, you're probably aware that they had assigned a LinkedIn investment or linkedininvestment.com email address. That's what they use as the user ID, just because they were trying to set it all up quickly. So they just took all of our usernames and they did it with that LinkedIn investment email address. Nothing will get sent to it. It's just what they use for the user ID. But that's what they use with the password is Money 2018. It's available to you. If you don't use it today, you're welcome to go out and try it. Use it. If you have full version, it's full access. Same thing with eMoney. Now eMoney, that one works a little different. You will have to call them or send an email, but it's available. We're not, it's a pilot that we're running with all of the vendors to pilot all the tools. If you're not an Allbridge user today, you have access today. Oops, I see a typo, but it's single sign-on right now. That you could go into advisor link, click on Allbridge. It will take you directly into there. So even if you didn't have access before, you do now. We've given everybody who was non-users access until April. And the same, if you wanted to use RedTail or you wanted to try it out, or they do offer a 30-day free trial, but if you wanted to start it now, we could go ahead and get you converted over, and you could have access for up and, there'd be no charge or anything until April. So,
Robin,
yep.
Robin, hi, it's John. We had a question that got typed in from Ryan Day asking how long it typically took to do the conversion from Smart Office to RedTail, and kind of what all was involved there.
Yeah, so it's actually, they've gotten it down to a pretty good, pretty good science from Smart Office over to RedTail. So typically what would happen is you would go ahead and we would get you signed up with an account. Like we would start with like a 30-day trial, and then we would contact Smart Office to let them know that you need a backup of your database. Then RedTail would reach out to the advisor. RedTail handles it all, but they reach out to the advisor to see how you're using it today, what you have in there, are you using any custom fields, and then they kind of tailor the conversion around how you're using it today. For Smart Office, because the probably the longest time that it takes is for us to get that back up from Smart Office. But once we get the back office, or once we get that backup, it's quick. Like they load it quick because they have they have already something built to load all of it. If there's custom fields, they may have to do something with the custom fields. But it's usually, so once we request the backup, Smart Office can take anywhere from, I've seen it go as long 1 to 2 weeks. It just depends on where they're at and what those, so that's the part that we're more reliant on, not so much from the RedTail piece, because they convert the data pretty quick. Smart Office usually can give us an idea, though, once we request it, how long it's going to take them and when they can, get it to us. Because obviously, once you get that backup, you don't want to be working in Smart Office anymore. You would want to start working in RedTail at that point, so you're not doing double, entry, or you have stale data within Smart Office.
Robin, also, we had a couple of questions from Earl.
Yep.
So are the educational pieces on 4-field client approved?
So if you go out, when you go and you pull up the educational pieces for the client, it will actually tell you if it's been already approved through compliance. So what would happen is you would see a green button that says request approval. When you click that, all you have to do is click that button. That goes directly to our compliance department. So it's not anything you have to download and send. You literally, it's an automatic, it goes directly to the compliance department. If it doesn't say request approval, that means that it's already been approved through our compliance department, and it would tell you on there. So it's actually that's a really nice process that they have built with us, because they actually gave us a compliance dashboard, so it just automatically goes to the dashboard, and they get alerted as soon as something hits that dashboard to go in and approve it.
Okay. And then there was another question from someone about attached files getting moved from Smart Office to RedTail, but I think you kind of addressed that. Essentially, that comes from the backup, right? And then that data just gets transferred over and moved into the proper files structure on RedTail.
Well, now the attachments, if they have attached stuff in there, so that one works a little bit differently. So RedTail, because you do have the ability to load files in there, but if you have attachments that are part of Smart Office today, if you don't, that you have to do, and for them to actually move the attachments, and it has to do with how Smart Office gives the backup. They can't, you have to do like the imaging system through RedTail, and then they will build something to kind of format it to go over. So I have, and I've had a lot of people who had attachments. Some people went ahead and just pulled their attachments out and kept them on their desk, or they, I've had some that went ahead and did the imaging. The imaging part of it's $45 for up to 15 users a month, or they've just went ahead and took it as part of their backup and didn't, so they had the documentation. So that one is the attachments are a little bit different. So I'm glad that you asked that, because that's a good question.
So I guess though, when you talk to like Julie about your transition, these are all the kind of issues that come up and are addressed advisor by advisor if you're making that transition from Smart Office to RedTail or any other CRM, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, because everybody uses their stuff a little differently. So absolutely, we talk, we'll talk with you through it, as well as with, RedTail will too. So we don't, everyone's handled a little differently just because everybody uses it a little differently. Yes, absolutely. All of this would come up, and we would definitely make sure that we've addressed everything that you have in there today to make sure that, if you need to bring it over, how we would make sure of getting that over to RedTail.
Can I ask a quick question to Robin?
All right.
You sure can.
So as far as the integration or syncing ability for RedTail to Lions, if I make an update in RedTail on my database, if that's in the cloud, I guess, whatever, but do I need to go and change it in Lions? Because right now I'm using Smart Office, and then I have to go into Lions and update it there. Does RedTail sync with Lions? How does that work?
It does, but it doesn't go, we're not pushing, so RedTail doesn't push to, and there is a reason behind it, but we don't so RedTail isn't pushing anything to us. We actually are like, it would be, you would do the update in Lions, and then we would push it to RedTail. And it's just because we have a lot of advisors who have, that have other business besides securities and besides Lincoln business. And there was really no good way for us to have RedTail push it without pushing clients that are not Lincoln clients. And we didn't want that. We didn't want it for the advisor who, it's their database. We want it to be their database. We don't want to, we're not trying to, take over all their data, nothing like that. So we did the push from Lions to RedTail. Is there any other questions?
Well, I guess the follow-up to that then is I start populating things in Lions. So if I get a prospect, you don't want to know about it, I guess, yet, obviously. But once they're a client, I'm trying to figure that out. How does this all work with e-applications and so forth if I can't put them in yet, but it's going to, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, so if you had them, so if you say you had a prospect and you had them in RedTail, and then they became a client, you were going to, open an account with it, then you would start in RedTail and pass the information from RedTail to your forms within Account Central. You wouldn't have to start it from, you wouldn't start it from Lincoln, you could start it from RedTail and pass it over to Account Central for the forms.
And then how does it get from Account Central into Lions?
We do that. So it automatically. So once you do from Account Central, then Lincoln opens the account from Account Central, which that's where it goes into Lions. So from Account Central, it's goes to our back office. That's when it hits Lions. And then if you ever had any updates to the demographic information, you would update it in Lions, and then we would pass it back to Redtail.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Sorry, I'm traveling, so I'm a little discombobulated here.
No, but I like these kind of questions. You're good.
Ryan, you can always call me with technology questions. You know that. As Robin cringes to clean up whatever mess I cause. I promise you, Robin, I don't do that. Big disclaimer on that.
Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you, Robin. I appreciate your time today. Everybody, really, I hope what you got out of this is there are a lot of tools here that you probably should get a little more familiar with, just to decide if they're important to you or not. Technology is one of those things that it can be a wonderful thing. It can also be incredibly overwhelming, and it can be a time waster if you aren't careful. I mean, you can chase every new idea in the world out there, and really what you need are the tools that work for your business and make you more efficient and give the best result for your clients. And really only you can tell that. So you've got a good opportunity here for the next couple of months to test drive some technology that might really make a difference for your practice and for your business. So I encourage you to take advantage of it. When it comes to pricing, I am working with Dennis on that. We do have we've always had kind of our own pricing opportunities here at PSF and now Wealth Management Partners. I expect we will have something to share with you very soon on what the pricing for our firm will be next year or this year. But in the process, until that happens, please take advantage of this opportunity, get educated and acquainted with these tools, and decide what you really need and want. And that way, once we get the final packaging and pricing all put together, it'll be a lot easier for you to make your choice and know that you're investing your money the right way. If you have any other questions, please forward them either to us or to Robin, and we'd be more than glad to help you. Also, anybody that has any follow-up questions, if you have any now, please let me know.
I've got another question, John.
Yeah.
It's really specific to Wealth Management Partners, so it doesn't necessarily concern Robin if she needs to go.
Okay.
Anyway, so John, who are you anticipating to be at the meeting in March for Wealth Management Partners? Is it just the old Woodland Hills office branch, or are there others invited, or you anticipate coming?
Oh, we're going to invite everybody. I mean, it's going to be like our kickoff meeting. We're going to really hope that everybody affiliated with Wealth Management Partners will be there. We've got about 45 advisors total. I don't know how many will actually be able to attend. It's a little, it's shorter notice than we would have liked. But my concern was I didn't want to push it out any further. The closer, further into March, you end up bumping up against spring break. In fact, we're probably pushing our luck a little bit as it is. And then you get into tax season and it just, everything kind of dominoes from there. So this seemed to be, the best opportunity for us to get everyone together. So, yeah.
I guess, are there any other potential groups or offices that might be invited or that we would also anticipate coming, or?
No, it'll just be Wealth Management Partners. It'll just be
okay.
our firm. There might be a couple other guys,
I guess.
Come to think of it, yeah, one or two others that we might, from outside the firm that we might invite. But it's going to be our meeting. It's not going to be like the regional meetings that Ed has done. It'll be just for us. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much. Anybody has any further questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call or shoot me a note. Our next call is February, hold on. Oh, you're at the edge of your seats waiting. I think it's the 21st. Hold on. We'll have to get back to you on that. I can't remember which day we put it down, but we do have another call scheduled in February. We'll send a follow-up to this along with a reminder on that date. It's the 28th, I'm sorry. So it's just, yeah, we're barely getting it in, aren't we? But anyway, we'll have another call then. We'll be sending you reminders since then, and we'll send a follow-up from this meeting with or this call with some information on Robin and some other follow-up from the other discussion items. So thanks again, everybody. Go out and enjoy the rest of the day and the last day of January. Talk soon. Thanks.